Hello, hello. Welcome everybody to a new Thunderbird live streaming session. Sorry, as soon as I started talking, my dog freaked out. He was like, he thought that someone came into our place. It's okay. Every time I answer the phone or I talk online or do a meeting, my dog immediately freaks out because he thinks there's someone else is in the apartment and he cannot see it. But hello everyone, how's everybody doing? Welcome. Please say hi in the chat, share the stream, share the link of this video, help me spread awareness of the Thunderbird live hacking session because I'm having so much fun in doing this and I want more people watching this because yeah, it's cool or it isn't. I don't know. Let me know if it's not cool and I will try to be more cool. But anyway, today is a beautiful sunny Thursday morning in Vancouver, Canada. As usual, let me know how you doing, where are you from, how's the weather in your area, and I'm starting to see some usual faces, which is always nice. Avery's, hello Avery's, it's good to see you again, or it's good to read you actually. Danny, hey Danny. Our lovely moderator and community manager and overall very beautiful man with just long hair and just a beautiful face. Danny is a gorgeous human being. Rai Usama said, well, you can tell in this session. Okay, in this session, we are going to see a bunch of things. First of all, I'm going to show you some of the most recent updates in terms of usability and UI that landed on Thunderbird Daily. If you want, you can download the daily build or the latest daily release from the website at the bottom of the website, and you can test the latest things. If you have Thunderbird like 78 or a beta installed in your system, always use Thunderbird Daily like a separated install on another directory if you can, on another hard drive, because you don't want to let daily or like a newer version override your current profile, because otherwise if you can go back to the previous version and try to use the profile was updated to the latest version, is not compatible, cannot be rolled back, so it's a bit of a shit show. So if you want to try the new version, try it on a separate machine or a separate hard drive. Don't override your current installation, be aware of that. Hello. Hey, Ray, from Pakistan. Oh, that's beautiful. It's always amazing how this thing is connecting us from all over the world, which is fantastic. So yes, today I'm going to show you some updates that landed on Thunderbird Daily, and then we're going to see some further work that I've been doing on the account setup. There are some challenges, some UI and UX challenges that hopefully we're going to solve or figure out today. Then I'm waiting for some reviews on other bugs that I have here, maybe. I'm reading some emails, sorry. Meanwhile, just like let the other people coming in and joining the live streaming. Oh, we have other people. How can start hacking from beginning? Right, that's a very broad question. Just I don't know. Okay, there's a website that is helpful for you. You can go to developer.thunderbird.net, or DTN for short, and you can read everything from scratch. You can start like with getting started, what you need to do in order to compile and build Thunderbird locally on your machine, all the tools that you need, all the building process, and all the setups that you can do it on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. It's compatible with every platform. This guide, it's pretty self-explanatory, so if you're interested in coding Thunderbird or hacking or contributing with patches, just go to developer.thunderbird.net and read it. It's a pretty long developer documentation, but you can start from there, and then you can join Bugzilla and just yeah, try to learn as much as possible and start coding Thunderbird. Thunderbird is mostly HTML, JavaScript, CSS, especially the front end. And there are a lot of parts in like Python, Rust, and C++, but those are, I mean, if you know those languages, like, please help us out because we need it. We have more people coming in and more messages. Comfortably Numb, hello. Sajit, hi from India, hello. Waidul, love your tutorials. Thank you so much. Draman, good to see you. And Dinukis says hi from Brazil. Hello, everyone. Okay, let's start looking at some cool stuff that just landed on Thunderbird Daily. So I'm going to open my beautiful terminal. I think I just compiled so I can run Thunderbird. So here we got a couple of improvements on the Compose window. The Compose window, we implemented a couple of universal or international shortcuts. Actually, let me hide these and let me show just this one. Bloop, flop. Just the right. Okay, a couple of international shortcuts. Actually, I'm gonna put the dark screen here so it's easier to see. Yay, you can see it better. A couple of international shortcuts to the three main fields: the to field, the CC field, and BCC field. International shortcuts means that cannot be translated. A lot of our shortcuts are translatable because, of course, words are different. So the subject line right now, you have an Alt S to just focus on the subject, and the _S stands for like what is the access key that allows you to press Alt S to focus on the subject. The subject name changes in different languages. Your language maybe is not subject, it starts with a different letter. So translators have the ability to change the access key based on the actual word. But then we decided to add some international non-translatable shortcuts because it's easier. First of all, it's muscle memory. It's easier to do it, and you know that it doesn't matter the version of your language or whatever the localization version of Thunderbird, the access key or the shortcut keys are identical. And also it's easier for our documentation. We can reference in the documentation things that you can do with those international keys, that they don't change. We don't need to translate the documentation or write in the documentation, hey, this key might be different in your language or stuff like that. So we implemented 3 shortcut keys, which are, you can see it in the view menu, the Control-Shift-T, C and B for to, CC and BCC, and you can press them from wherever. So if I press Control-Shift-C, it opens the CC field and focuses it. If I press the Control-Shift-T, focus on the T, on the to, C, B, C, T, B, C, T, B. Again, of course, if the field is closed, it just opens the field. If the field is opened, it focuses on the field. And this is very important because, especially for keyboard users, maybe for mouse user is not that important because you're writing your address, whatever, and then you click on the CC and already focuses there, you can write. It's pretty straightforward with your mouse. But if you're a heavy keyboard user, in order to click or hit press on the CC, you have to press Shift Tab, 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 and Enter. So 4 button press, button strokes, whatever, in order to open one field. And if you're in the subject line, you want to open the BCC, you have to do Shift, 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 BCC. It's a lot. So these keyboard accessibility, it's easier. And also we have these international tooltips that can be read also for screen readers, or if, for example, you have a disability that doesn't allow you to press Control-Shift-C, it's complicated for you, like your hands, like you don't have that flexibility or that capability with your hands, you can simply hit Alt-V or tell your access your screen reader or your supporter, if you cannot type, use mouse, to open the view submenu, and then you have them all here. So you can literally do Tab V or Alt V and Alt T and press enter, or Alt V, CC, press enter, and opens up. So we gave multiple access points for both mouse and keyboard to quickly access these main fields. And yeah, that was pretty straightforward. It took us a lot of time to learn this feature because we had some different opinions. Different developers had different opinions on how to do that, and then we landed on this, and I'm super happy. Dinukis said in Brazil, subject says assunto. Yes, exactly. So maybe you have the A as a translated shortcut key here. Draman says, these for keyboard accessibility. Yes. And easy of discovery also. Having these international keys allowed us to show them in the sub menu here, in the menu items, so they're easily discoverable. Then another pretty important implementation that we need on the message compose area is for mostly for enterprise users, but it's not only for enterprise users. So imagine that you always have to write a CC address. So you send an email to your recipient, and then your CC is always your boss, whatever. And everything is like that, but it's not always your boss. Sometimes is your coworkers, someone else. Sometimes is a mailing list. Sometimes is whatever. Like, the constant here is that for every message that you write, you always have a CC, someone in copy that you have to send that message to. And the someone in copy, and it's not always the same. Sometimes it changes. So it gets kind of annoying and kind of tiring. Oh, sorry. Okay, so Draman, I'm gonna click show. So Draman wrote shit tab goes backward, right? So YouTube flagged this. Is this like a good, do you want to moderate and hide your message because they thought it was like a bad word? Yeah, shit tab. Yeah, shift tab goes back, but I approved your message, is fine. So imagine, I was saying, that was funny. Imagine that you have to, every time you open a message, discard all these changes, every time you click like write, and then every time you write whatever your recipient, and then click CC, and you write the copy. Then you close, you send it, it's fine. Then write it again. And write to someone, once again, CC, you write to someone else. Okay, send the message. Write again. Write someone, click CC, open. You see how repetitive it is. Like, we know that for every message, we have a copy. We have someone that we have to put in copy. So why don't we allow to have the CC always open for a specific identity? And we had something similar. So if we access our account settings or my account settings in copies and folders, we had before these CC and BCC, these email addresses. And automatically filled. So if we check like CC these to myself and to another address and to another address, whatever. If we set this like this and then we click write, automatically our compose window will open with that CC field open and those predefined addressed always set there. And if we change identity, that CC is not there because it's only tied to our identity, to the identity that we specified in the account settings. The problem with that is that some users wanted the CC field always visible, but without having a predefined or pre-filled address in it. So we implemented a little trick that allows to check the CC and BCC field, but it allows you to leave it completely open without anything written in it. So an empty field. And we wrote here as a description that you can leave the address field blank to always show the addresses row when starting a new message. So if, for example, in my main Thunderbird, I always want the CC visible, and then in my Gmail, I want only the BCC visible, but without anything, I can set it. And then I go here, I write, okay, I open my main address, the CC is visible. If I go to my Gmail account, the BCC is visible. Go back to here, I go to a completely different account. None of them are visible because this is a new group. So the compose window area and all the addressing widgets, they adapt to the option that you need, and all the sections that you can check and uncheck the copies and folders. So it's more modular, it's more dynamic, it's per identity based. So if you have whatever, if you have like an enterprise account and your personal account, and you know that your enterprise account always have a CC, you can check that and have it. It's pretty handy. So yeah, these are two important things that landed in daily, and they seem small, but they're kind of like important, and they will help a lot the keyboard accessibility and usability and speed things up. Another thing that landed is the first step for the new address book. And if you're using daily, you can enable the new address book by going into the preferences, scrolling all the way down, open the config editor, and search for a new address book. Sorry. You will find this preference, mail address book, use new address book, set to false by default. And if it's set to false, first you need to restart it. If it's set to false, it will open the pre-existing address book. Pre-existing address book is this. Is these window tab. It opens, it's a dialog, it's a list, it's very cramped, it's very old style. Let me select my UX mailing list. It's very, it is what it is. It's from its time, it's from its age. Is if you need to edit this account, it's just this massive multiple tabs dialogue on top of a dialogue. It's not great. It's very old, outdated. The code which was built from it's old. So Jeff, one of our amazing developers, probably one of the few that it's holding Thunderbird in place and making it work every day, started working on this new address book. I did the layout, I did the UI of this implementation, and he implemented and coded it. And it's not done, of course. It's not nowhere near done, but it's a pretty big step forward, pretty work in progress. First of all, we're not using any XUL markup. This is pure HTML, and it's fast as shit. Just like Happy is very, very fast. It's very fluid and responsive. It's fully keyboard accessible, and the focus ring is very easy to spot. There's no way you can like, where is my focus ring? It's very easy to spot. And then right now it's a work in progress, because of course you can see when you edit, basically we put everything into place, but it's already a good improvement because we don't open a dialogue on a dialogue with another dialogue. Everything is set in place. You can edit and cancel and save these things. And the final goal here also, these filters pretty quickly, and it's amazing. The goal here, and I'm gonna show you the final result that we will try to achieve. It's something like this. Mockups. Let me access this. Address book. There you go. We have it here. Let me enlarge these so you can see it better. This is the kind of like the goal, what we're trying to achieve here. The address book. If I hide the contact view, contact list, contact edit, let me hide what is this list header? Let me hide the pop-up because it's annoying. Okay, so this is kind of like the goal that we want to achieve. First of all, like the toolbar is gonna be way more useful. For now, we are hiding the import and export options because they don't work quite well, but that's the goal here. A global search for all Thunderbird is always going to be present, but then we are a unique search for the content that you're currently seeing. The new list is already implemented. These other lists, we're not sure about the letter. It's very Gmail-y type of approach, but if you add a picture, the picture should be shown like as a small picture in your list. And when you select here, we want to, of course, use the whole huge area to print things in a more meaningful way and give you access to quick actions. For example, here, as you can see, we have the quick actions to directly write to this email address, create an event and automatically invite this contact to the attendees, or of course edit it. View history is going to be awesome because view history basically is a search specific to that email address, and it will give you all the emails, events, chat messages, all the interactions that you had with that specific email. So it's a full history of just your interaction with that specific email or that specific contact. And then yeah, we're going to list everything. The OpenPGP, everything is going to be tightly integrated. If you have some social media, everything is there. And of course, you can have like an empty list. If you're selecting like a new list, you can add a contact directly here. But also the edit view. Bloop. Contact list, edit view. So if you click edit, basically this is gonna be similar to what you saw before, but like better styled, of course, like a more organized, tightly organized type of fields. And also one thing that we want to implement is an infinite amount of fields for some specific things. For example, people can have multiple emails. So why do we force you to just have work email, home email? Like people have millions different emails. Multiple phones, you can add those and you can select which one is the primary. So when you double click or quickly click right on a contact, it will automatically default to the primary email, and so on. Like all these things are pretty straightforward. But yeah, this is the goal for the address book. So work in progress, looking super promising. So I'm super happy about it. And yeah, this is what landed in 78, and so not in 78, holy shit, in daily, which is 89. There are a million other things that landed. If you're curious about all the things that landed in Thunderbird, you can go to the tree herder and see the push log of all the recent things that landed. We removed and cleaned up a lot of things in the C++ area. We're cleaning up a lot of XUL and turning everything into pure HTML. Fixed some tests, cleaned up the UI for some input fields. A lot of things. Like daily, we push a lot of things to Thunderbird, which it might surprise it, but every time there's a daily release, there are a lot of implementation, a lot of fixes that land and make Thunderbird better, even if visually is not immediately visible, is not like obvious, but a lot of good things happen. So that's all I'm saying. Now we are going to work. Actually, I'm going to take a small break, but we are going to start looking at the account setup because there are some changes that I've been doing on the new account setup. There are some UI and UX challenges that I want to discuss with you, and let's see if we can find some solutions together. There are some messages here, some questions. So I am happy to discover that I can do that. Do what? Joao. Danny said, and of course, Proton is leaking in the dark theme. It's okay. Good to see that the address book overall has started. Very nice. Yes, Avery's. We've been wanting to do an overall address book rebuild for like 3 years now, and we didn't have time, and now it's like, let's just do it. Let's just start it. Dascalu, yes. Danny answered the program. It's Figma. Okay. Let me grab a sip of coffee and a sip of water. Thank you, Dremen. Yes, I'm gonna need your help. I'm gonna need the help from everyone to fix these things. Okay, first of all, before fixing these things, click in the link in the description below to go to linode.com/alicad and get $100 off or your first 60 days to use whatever you want from Linode. No strings attached. Linode is an amazing sponsor of this YouTube channel. Great supporters of Linux. They love Linux. Great supporters of open source community. So they were so kind to reach out to my stupid channel and say, hey, we want to sponsor you. I was like, what? I'm the worst. Why? But yeah, so show the love for Linode and just click on that. Oh, Joao, use the CC to automate my emails. Yes, I know that a lot of users would have loved this. It's available on daily, will be available on Thunderbird 91, the next long-term support release, which is gonna be released around August. So hold on to that. Or it's gonna be available on the next beta, which is beta 90, which should be available next month if you're a beta user. But anyway, yes, go to linode.com, or you can check the merch of this beautiful channel and buy a t-shirt or whatever and support the channel. But other than that, as usual, subscribe if you're not, and share this video on your social media. Share it on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, whatever. Also, by the way, sorry for the hole. I don't know if you noticed the hole here. There's a little hole in my wall because I did that. I'm renovating my apartment a little bit. I'm gonna put some insulation and soundproofing material here. And before being able to remove the wall and just bring it to the dump, I needed to grab a sample and test it for asbestos. Of course, the test came back negative, but I needed to do some holes in the walls and ceiling. So I'm sorry. It's just rough. Okay, let's continue with this. ID, I need to rebase my patch and then update to my patch and then do a little build compile. And come on, you can do it and launch it. Alrighty, so here, the new account setup is looking pretty sharp so far. It's looking beautiful. The best thing ever is the dark mode, but I'm not gonna show you the dark mode. I did this little thing. Anyway, a lot of updates. Oh, Draman says 10K to 100K. Am I 10,000 subscribers from 100K? Yeah, I am. Oh, I don't know. I'm honestly like having so much anxiety about 100K because I don't want to think about it. It just gives me so much stress. But yeah, Master. No, I'm not using Vala. Danny answered to you in the chat. C++, Rust, JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. Mostly because I'm dealing with front-end stuff is JavaScript, HTML, and C++. Sorry, what? JavaScript, HTML, and CSS? I'm so confused. Anyway, let's focus on this little thing here. A lot of improvements landed on this current patch that I'm working on because I'm using pure HTML form validation. So if I like for example, I press enter, automatically these fields are flagged as invalid, and I'm styling all these with a simple user invalid. If I go user invalid, yes, I can style and change the icon with user invalid. I'm using the built-in style. Before these, we were doing everything with JavaScript because we weren't relying on built-in HTML form validation. We're doing like on every keystroke, is this a valid email? On blur, is this a valid name, or blah blah blah. Now it's just like the form doesn't submit and the message changes. Fill out this form. Here you have, please enter your name. Like, you have all these helpful tooltips that are also screen readers accessible. We always have to remember screen readers. Master says yuck JS. Why? JavaScript is amazing. JavaScript is beautiful. You know what it's yucky about JavaScript? People that don't know JavaScript and they code in JavaScript anyway. That's what's yucky. Because with JavaScript, you can do a lot of bad shit. But if you know JavaScript, you can do a lot of amazing things, especially in the recent years, but let's not digress. So here we have some automatically adjusted fixes, of course, because it's not invalid anymore. If I type at Thunderbird.net, I leave the password empty because I don't care for now. We click continue. We get daily failed because Thunderbird.net is not a valid address, but continue. Okay, on a successful fetch to the Mozilla ISP database or the most common servers, we got these IMAP or POP3 configuration. You can check and select which type of configuration. And we pre-fill all these things for you. You don't have to do anything, which is pretty standard. I would say 99% of our user base will end up with this. And also like enterprise users with Exchange or Microsoft Office 365, we auto recognize, oh, you want to use a Microsoft Exchange server, you can select this. We offer you add-on that you can automatically install directly here and conclude everything. There's no problem. Or you can try IMAP if your Office or your Exchange server provider has IMAP enabled or not. And also we do with Gmail. So with Gmail, if you click done, we open up OAuth, two-factor authentication if you use it, and we allow you to set up everything. So it's pretty straightforward. All these things are pretty standard. And as I said, the majority of the users will only handle this situation here. You enter your email address and password, and then you click whatever protocol, and we try to explain to the user what is the difference between these two protocols. It is just what do they do, because before we didn't explain anything. And then you click done. We ask for your password. We check if you have already the exact same account set up or no, and whatever. The problems start, which are not really the problems, but the complications start when you go to manual configuration. The manual configuration needs an incoming and outgoing server, and we do our best to pre-fill those things in order for you to not needing to touch anything and to never needing to access the manual server configuration, because the manual server configuration is tricky. you can mess things a lot. So before, let me open up Thunderbird 78. What it's available in 78. First of all, it's a dialogue, of course. Everything it's a dialogue in 78. But if we do something similar, look at Thunderbird.net. First of all, see like this, like it's slower. The UI is like yuck. IMAP remote folder. What does it mean? I don't know, whatever. You really configure manually. You have these kind of tricky layout where we have these custom elements, which are called editable menu lists, which are not keyboard accessible, and they are not screen reader accessible. So these needed to go away, absolutely. But the kind of like positive things about this is that, yes, we pre-fill these, but we also give you some pre-populated options if you want to check. And if you check one of the pre-populated available options, we automatically disable, and of course you can see some UI error here, but whatever, it's 78, we're not going to deal with that. We're gonna automatically pre-filled everything else and disable them because you use a pre-filled option, or we allow you to write whatever you want, right? If you know that you have a unique type of SMTP or IMAP, or also for the port, if you select a predefined port, we fill it up, or if you set auto, we allow you to change everything else. Same thing for the port, if you select 587, whatever. And these ports are kind of like well-known predefined ports that are good to use. The problem is that in this situation, this list is misleading because these ports, like, it's not a list like this. This is a menu list. It makes sense. Like, what type of SSL do you want? Do you want no SSL, or start SSL, SSL, TSL? And these might be different options for different type of configuration for your server or your ISP provider, whatever. The ports is not that, oh, let's try 25 or 465 or 587. The port, or you know the port or you don't. You cannot guess it, or you cannot select it from a predefined list of ports. That wouldn't work. So having these suggested menu list here, it's misleading for the user, because this menu list is basically kind of telling the user, hey, these ports might work, pick which one you want. No, it shouldn't be that. And also we cannot suggest these if it's not correct. We cannot suggest that kind of like an SMTP database that we kind of know, because it might be wrong. And just give me a second that I need to close my window because they're cleaning the windows and they're spraying water in my apartment. Just a second. Yeah, window cleaners. So this is the situation, right? We should have menu list of pre-selected protocols or pre-selected options that make sense for the users to change. But we shouldn't have predefined options readily available if they don't make sense, because you cannot like click guess your port, or you know it or you don't know it. So the original idea, something that I implemented, was actually, let me show the Figma design here because it's the most accurate. Oopsie, mockups. Where do we have here? This one, the Figma design here, we have it here. So the original idea was to, first of all, split this whole thing into tabs. And a lot of users, we had an outrage from users because they said, if I'm editing, I'm manually configuring these options, I need to have the ability to check and see both incoming and outgoing at the same time. I don't want to just click back and forth and maybe miss something, which is a valid concern, I guess. I don't know, but I guess it's a valid concern. I'm not I don't know, I like a server, the whatever DevOps. I don't manage email servers, so I don't know if like, I don't know, IT departments, they really struggle with this. But anyway, it's a valid concern. So having these two in two different tabs is not a good solution. The other thing that I implemented was, okay, you want to select a predefined port number, we give you a menu list. If you want, specify a custom port, you check custom port and open the custom port there and write your custom port there. So we have this complete separation of concerns between a menu list of predefined and then something that you can customly write, and we get rid of that editable menu list, which is an accessibility nightmare. The problem with this is that It's kind of okay for the incoming. The outgoing, though, has, as you saw in the previous what is that, in 78, we had the host name that can be selected from a predefined list or written, and we have the port selected, predefined, and listed. So this UI was getting really out of hand with multiple radio button options, multiple selections. The JavaScript side of things was getting complicated because whenever we were testing the manual configuration or checking something, we needed to check, oh, is this selected? Like, is the select predefined list selected, or is the custom port selected? And if the custom port written, it's part of a pre-default value in the menu list, what should we do? Should we just auto select the menu list and ignore the custom port? Well, it was getting a little bit like too convoluted for what it is. So the solution here that we're trying to adopt is using data lists. Data lists are a little bit nightmarish. So if, for example, we have a port here, if you double click or write something, we give a sort of like, oh, interesting. If I click 1, it goes back to the I found a bug, which is interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think it's on input because we have on input here. But anyway, we have a predefined set of ports because are the known ports for the IMAP that we know. But if you're changing the port, it means that you know what kind of port you want to write, right? So this data list is kind of useless, and you can set to auto, so we auto suggest. But also here, and I closed it accidentally because I'm smart. Sorry. So yeah, there are these concerns and these thing, and for the outgoing host name, we automatically return all the host name. These are all the host name outgoings that I personally set up throughout the testing of all the accounts, and we return these. And personally, I question, like, why are we returning the full list of available servers if they don't match the email that you specified? But that's a question for another day. But these also is like, it doesn't really work because it's sort of like, it should autocomplete, right? But it doesn't really autocomplete. The UI, it's messed up. We need to style it better. But it doesn't really autocomplete. So it's, yeah, I'm kind of struggling. And also I'm questioning, like, is this layout good enough? It feels very cramped and very just tight together and narrow. Not great. So yeah, these are like the various problems that I'm having, and I'm trying to keep everything like small and easy to look and feel, especially when you do a retest. We scroll up to show the current configuration here is looking, probing server. If something goes wrong, then we scroll back to the buttons. When we change something here, we should change also, should delete these. Okay. Yeah, there are a lot of things. So it's something that we need to think about it. So yeah, fun. Let me hide this. We're gonna start coding a little bit finally. Oh, a lot of messages. You guys are awesome. Yeah, Draman says you can even do machine learning in JavaScript. Yes. C# is the best. Okay. Out of topic, Draman asks, has you ever built an email server? You know, all the headache, SMT, postfix, dev code. Okay, would like to know if you have any known script to run to build an email server easily. No, I don't, Draman. I stayed away from building an email server as long as possible, and hopefully I will never have to build an email server by myself because it's awful. Yeah. Self-hosting email service. There's a project called Mail in a Box. Okay, Drummond says, I think best UX would be first to do an incoming server, and then you can reuse incoming server port as server names for the outgoing with pre-filled inputs. As step-by-step. Okay, Drummond, that's a good suggestion. I tried to do that 2 years ago. When I originally rebuilt the email wizard configuration from 68 to 78, it was an initial step to do something slightly better. And I did that step-by-step guide. And I got so many hate mails from experienced users, which they call like power users, which I don't know what that means, where they told me like, this is stupid. Like when I access manual configuration, I want to see everything all at once. I don't want step by step. I don't want to separate it. I just want to see incoming and outgoing side by side. And I want to be able to touch everything all at once and see everything. So that's the thing. That's a decision that we had to make, and I made based on what kind of users access the manual configuration. The manual configuration is very technical. Or you know what you're typing or you don't. There's no guessing there, right? Or you know your server information or you're completely left in the dark and it doesn't work. So who accesses the manual configuration is someone that first or knows what it's doing, so it doesn't need a guided step-by-step to, hey, you need first this port and check if it works, and then we can reuse it for the outgoing and SMTP and check it. No, the user knows what he's doing because potentially is a technical user, or it's someone that is following a guide. For example, you use some stupid example, you use a specific configuration of Proton Mail. Proton Mail has a documentation said, how do you set it up with Thunderbird? Access the manual configuration, write 1, 2, 3 here, and then click done. So the manual configuration is something that a technically knowledge or someone that it's being guided type of user is using. So we don't need a step-by-step type of wizard like we do in the simple email wizard. In the simple account configuration, we do a step-by-step wizard. We do insert your name, insert your email, click continue, select which one protocol you want, click done, add your password if you didn't, conclude it. That's a pretty straightforward wizard. We don't want to do the wizard in an advanced settings that we know it's only getting accessed by technically literate users, potentially. It's a gamble, but we decided to go with that gamble to simplify things and to not upset the technical user base that a lot of these users that complain about the wizard step-by-step were users that they manage the IT department of university and they need to manually set up all the email accounts from the users and for each computers that professors or students are using, blah, 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 all this kind of thing. So these are the reasoning why we don't want to go with the wizard step-by-step for the manual configuration. That's why we're trying for the manual configuration to be plain and simple and just leave it there. So my next question was also, or my next doubt was also, why are we suggesting predefined options if those options is we don't want the user to just click guess? Why don't we just have empty fields if you need to write something? That's my question, right? Okay, more. Oh, amazing, Ravi says. Oh, thank you. Draman actually built my own, but it was too hard, and I was hoping to find a shell script to run with CLI to set up one. Mainline box is the best solution you can find if you don't want to manually set everything. Let's say email server. The last thing you want to maintain yourself. Yeah, it's fucking trash. Wizard is muted, said I have like 1,000+ emails of Thunderbird. Of Thunderbird? Like Thunderbird is sending you emails, or in Thunderbird Wizard? Just Draman says, my suggestion was to reuse user input without asking them again. So pre-filled the inputs with the potential same input fields. For example, incoming outgoing server name will be the same. Incoming outgoing server names cannot be the same first. Those are two different things most of the times. We already pre-filled all the fields though. We already do that. Oops, not this. So when you, for example, what am I doing here? Just give me my terminal. When, for example, you write an email account, whatever, no, right, as.com, whatever. Even before clicking continue, you can click on configure manually, and automatically we pre-filled everything. And since we don't know anything about these completely random ass server name or server domain host name that you specified, we set everything to auto detect. We said like to auto detect because we have a pretty strong and pretty I wouldn't say fail safe, but pretty reliable auto configuration wizard that automatically sets everything up for you in the background. Thunderbird has been around for 20 years, so we know a little bit about how to set up a server and find the proper configuration. And it's not like in the past that we have this type of obscure type of configuration. Everyone has its own self-managed email server on a box in its garage. The majority of our users, they come from the Exchange server, or they have an IMAP or POP account. And those are pretty standard. And the services that are offering those and maintaining those are pretty common and starter. So we can kind of like find everything with auto detect. But we already do that. We fill up everything. The problem is that if a user goes the extra mile to say, I don't even want the auto config to fetch everything for me, I already know what I want to write, just click configure manually and I start writing this thing. It's gonna be fine, right? So that's the thing. That's the reasoning why we're doing this, is that this section is mostly accessed by technically skilled people that they know what they need to type. So the original question is that, do we really need some data list that looks very ugly to suggest something that it's also most likely not accurate? Because if I write as.com as my domain, why am I suggesting gmail.com? Why am I suggesting Office 365? Just because we have those outgoing host names, it doesn't mean they will work. So these suggestions might confuse a user that it's maybe following a guide to fill up these input fields. C is like, what do we do here? I don't know. So yeah. Wizard said they were sent to me. It was weird. Okay, cool. Ragav, hello. What's going on? Just joined the stream. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, as usual, I do the live stream for 45 minutes, an hour, and after 45 minutes, like the double of the people join, because YouTube starts recommending my stream to others. So it doesn't recommend it as soon as I start. It recommends it after an hour I've been live streaming. So a lot of like random people start joining and say like, what the fuck is going on here? What are you doing? What are you coding? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Say yeah in the chat. Draman says, my experience for value of those suggestions is that those are mostly default ports for most of the email servers. Yes, unless they have set up different ports. Yes, that's correct. And I can show you in the code what we do. So in the account setup.js, which you can also access online, very simple, we have some predefined standard ports for IMAP, POP3, SMTP, and the exchange. These are the most common standard ports that should work depending on if you have SSL or if you have like self-signed certificate or you have like whatever security level, start SSL, type of TLS, whatever encryption or connection encryption you have. These are, oh, what did I do? These are the different ports that we use. But we already changed those based on your setup. So if I do this, for example, Thunderbird.net, if I do this, right, and it's finding whatever, configure manually, if I change these to none, we automatically change the port for you because we know that the port is not going to be 993, which is an SSL port, but it's going to be no type of connection security. But if you select back SSL, we go back to 993 because we know that that port is necessary for the SSL. So leaving this to the user, it's very unique. So only a specific type of user will need to specify a non-standard port. And the question remains, why are we suggesting this if the user select SSL and then I can select 143, but this is incorrect. In fact, we say, okay, if you're changing these, we switch to auto detect because these are not good. Same thing here. If you change these to whatever that is not safe or is not secure, we actually don't do it here. We should do it, but select none, we change it here, select auto detect or SSL, we should change it back. So these are some random bugs that we're having here, but this is the issue, right? We do something automatically, but we also allowed manual editing and it's a nightmare. It's just hard to find the perfect thing to fix all these issues, but we'll find a solution, and also we'll find a solution. Hi Dirk. Hello. How's it going? Okay, so the other thing I wanted to explore a little bit, and I'm gonna change the UI here a little bit so you can see. I wanted to explore these removal of the content block category thing here. Give it a little bit more breathing room. We don't need that type of encapsulation or keeping everything tight together. And also the grid here, we can change the row gap to 9 pixels to give it a little bit more breathing room. Something like that. And then these incoming server legend, maybe we should do something different. Instead of doing this, we can have a little icon to the left. Oh, this kind of look weird. We can have a little icon to the left, having a different style, like creating a little bit more separation of concerns, like we do in the preferences. We have like section titles and legend titles. We should use this type of layout or UI to be more consistent and not introducing something completely custom that is just unique to this section. And this looks very much like a smaller button. It seems like something is clickable, or I don't know. We'll see. We need to decide. Yeah, we need to decide this. What do you guys think? let me know what you think in the chat, because I've been working on this whole section for a month now, and the account setup was like almost 3,000 lines of code. I reduced it to 2,500. It's still a lot, but it's still, well, a lot of things is comments, of course. But having a JavaScript files that handles things with 2,000 lines of code is kind of like mind-blowing, and it's hard to manage. So we need to simplify things here. We cannot make it uber complicated. Click here, next step, or check this, but you can also do this, but you can also do that. We need to be like more straightforward and easier to maintain, easier to use. Yeah. Joao says, I agree. I have problems before with default port suggestion that does not fit, and I need to test which one works. Yeah. Nicola. Not much I understand, so I guess I can't say what I think, but I subbed. Okay. Well, you can say what you think. As far as you're respectful and whatever, helpful, like, you can also ask questions, Nicola. You don't have to. I rarely say smart things, or rarely say good things, or suggest interesting things, so it's fine. Also, we have a bunch of questions here, a bunch of feedback from the technical director that raises good points, but also the theme module owner. There are some good feedback, and I'm trying to incorporate those and fixing those, and yeah, it's complicated. It's very, very complicated. But yeah, this is where I'm at right now, and I'm gonna keep working on it all day. I'm gonna fix it. Nicola said, could you please read my previous question? Your previous question is, or is it not safe? Do I have to use shrinking tube? What is shrinking tube? I don't know. Sorry, I don't understand your question. Can you explain, please? But yeah, I will keep working on this until it's intuitive, it's easy to use. I will catch... Nicola, what are you talking about? Catching fire in your home? We're talking about coding Thunderbird here. What are you talking about? Is it trolling? Probably trolling. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, Draman, thank you so much for your suggestions and your type of approach. I try to do what you suggested, and it's... some users hated it. So I'm like, what do we want to do here? Yeah, I don't see your question, Nicola, above. Just know you're trolling. Yeah, I don't see it. Okay. Yeah, Draman, you're right. I have to do what is standard for a manual email configuration. So my idea here is to fill up whatever we have whatever we can find, and then allowing users to edit, but without auto-suggesting things, because it doesn't make sense. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Danny, you thought the string were frozen? Yes, I'm my brain is frozen right now. I'm just like, this should be simple, but it's not, and I hate it. And also the requests from some users like, but I need to use these in this way. It's just, do you though? Really? Yuck. Yeah, best you can do is filter suggestion to remove nonsense suggestion. Like if you are using secure port, no need to suggest unsecure ports. Yes, exactly. If you're using an SSL encryption, or if you're using an SSL, like we don't want to suggest 143, which is non-secure port, because that means your SSL connection security is done. One thing that we try to do by safeguarding ourselves is just we disable the done button if you change the settings, and you need to go through a retest in order to confirm that all your settings work. And when we do a retest, we check the port, and if your settings are incorrect, we automatically change them. And of course, it's failing because I changed too many things. But this is not good to change because the users specified something different. So it's, yeah. Yeah, if I put SSL back, it works because the port is correct, the connection security is correct. So these two are tied together. So this is like having a type of connection security with a different port from the standards. It's such a unique thing. It's such an edge case that maybe some nuts service provider or some IT engineer said, no, I want a unique port for the SSL that is not the standard port. That's such a unique thing that it's just giving me a headache, because I know this is not standard. So it's like, it's very unique that something like that happened. It's very edge case, but we have 30 million users. So even if the 0.1% of the users will have these edge cases, a lot of 1,000 users. So yeah, yeah. If you're using secure port, no need to suggest unsecure ports. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Nicola, I'm a developer. I'm the Thunderbird lead UX architect. Can I know what you do not to be confused? TPG, I am coding Thunderbird. So yeah. Draman says, yeah, so you have to leave that option. Yes. The network engineer should take care of their side of the house anyway. Yeah, JR, like, yeah, in an ideal world, yes, the IT department and the network engineer should take care of that. But unfortunately, it's tricky. It's tricky because we had a lot of feedback. Not a lot of feedback. We have like bug reports of users that they stumble upon this exact situation. Like, my network engineer enabled Exchange and disabled IMAP, but Thunderbird suggested IMAP because that's a correct configuration. So I was able to set up an account, but I cannot download emails because even if the IMAP protocol is available in the server and we pinged it, it's available, the port for the IMAP is disabled. We have this crazy setup that a network engineer decided one day, I'm gonna just disable the IMAP port, like the default IMAP port. just like that. And we have to deal with that because the network engineer doesn't want to do anything. And I'm like, ah, shit. Yeah. Nicola has a question. How much of knowledge should I pick from comp science and IT uni to get a good job? As much as you want. That's a very broad question, Nicola. Does a degree matter or just knowledge? I'm focusing mainly on Javas and JavaScript. Degrees matter. It depends on like where you want to work. Like if you want to work for government, degrees matter. If you want to work for a private company, like a startup, degrees don't matter that much. What matters most is a good portfolio and show your work. So yeah, having a good portfolio. But yeah. Hersey, what the fuck, bro? Yeah, Hersey. Fuck you. It's beautiful how you try to JR says Hersey is a network engineer. Yes. Oh my god. Yes. Oh god, I banned him. Raghav says for custom configuration you can have an option for some config file like in JSON format which will be provided by user. Yeah. Camille asked, no, I'm not I'm not copying anything. I'm coding Thunderbird. You know Thunderbird, the Mozilla, or not Mozilla, it's independent email client, originally from Mozilla. I'm rebuilding the new account setup section, and we are debating the usability and the accessibility, mostly usability of this section. I like this because this is extremely accessible for the user. Especially for screen readers user, having a data list, it reads the suggested options for the data list. We don't have weird widgets, weird input fields. Having the field set, it gives context. So the screen reader reads, okay, this is an outgoing server host name, without repeating this, and everything is easy to navigate with your keyboard and your screen reader. So Draman, what did you write? What is that, your language? Pure Gitlan? What is that? You're working, Nicola. It's okay. Camille says, oh, you copied and pasted the same question. I just answered, Camille. Wait. So yeah, these are the things that I need to be doing, and I need to troubleshoot this. But I think we are gonna stop this live streaming because I've been doing it for more than an hour. What is that? Hour and almost a half. Arvind, what do you mean by email data? Yeah, like a Thunderbird account, your signature, your profile, to another mail ID. What's a mail ID? Okay. PHP and Laravel projects, awesome handle. I don't know what it is about. You're contributing to the Thunderbird development. I am a Thunderbird developer. I am the lead UX architect at Thunderbird. I work at Thunderbird full time, all day. That's what I do. That's what I'm struggling with right now. Draman, there was an idiot saying something. Shut up. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I banned him. It's fine. Okay. And also Camille is banned. It's beautiful. The more people you get, the more trolls you get. It's kind of cozy when we are our usual like 15, 16 users and we collaborate together during the live stream and we try to find solutions, and then a bunch of fucking idiots arrive in the stream and start asking dumb questions because their life is miserable. Nicola asked, the competition is coding too big and adapting to being a programmer is hard as hell. Yeah, JR has a good answer. So JR says 80% of the programmers are trash. Well, JR, I don't know. Yeah, based on your experience, if you say that, it's okay. I would say, Nicola, yes, getting into coding at the beginning, it's hard. And I personally, I don't think it's because there are so many programmers around and there's so much competition. No, it's hard because the industry is fucked up. Because a lot of businesses and a lot of agencies, they try to downplay. They try to hire junior developers, don't pay them at all. And then they have the executives that they make a shit ton of money, and then after a year they fire the junior developer and they hire another junior developer. It's rare to find a company, unless you go to a conglomerate like Amazon or Google, but you don't really want to work there. They pay you a lot, but they suck your soul out. Unless, yes, that's the thing, right? You find a good company. Finding a good company, especially when you're a junior developer, is really hard. So at the beginning, for initial years, it's a lot of code as much as you can, push yourself as hard as you can to put yourself out there and to make yourself visible. That's why I think it's related to what JR said, that 80% of the programmers are trash, because when you get out of university or after you learn by yourself, the only thing that you can do is just code. It doesn't matter the quality, it's just do work and be as fast as possible to not get fired and try to get hired. And there's no much time. Not many companies cherish or care about a developer's growth, or they teach you new things, or they guide you during your first years. No, they just code. And that's one of the downsides of programming. You can code a lot of things without knowing how to code, which is mind-blowing as a concept. But you can literally build whole platforms with just shitty code that you copy paste from Stack Overflow. And a lot of developers, they know that they're doing shitty code, but they don't have time to do good code. I think that's my personal opinion. Oh, so many questions. PHP in Laravel says, oh my god, really nice. Yes. What's your opinion about CHV11? I don't know what that is. No, Vcas, I don't do conversation on Twitter. So, Nicola, your first year of computer science, the second semester. So it's Nicola, it's normal to be overwhelmed. It's fine. I've been coding for 20 years now. And every day I feel overwhelmed. And as you can see during my live streaming, I'm struggling with very simple things. And I'm just like, why this doesn't work? Everyone is overwhelmed. Don't believe anyone that says, I know everything, I'm cool, I can get any job, all the jobs that I want. Don't believe that shit. Everyone struggles all the time. You just have to find what you like to code. Find the language that you like. Find what you like to build and build it, and cherish your skills and continue to learn. And always remember, it's something that no one taught me, and I was just like fucking losing my mind. After you get out of university, after you finish your degrees, whatever, that does not mean that you stop learning. That doesn't mean, okay, I have all the knowledge, now I should just be able to work everywhere. No, that's only the beginning. you have to study and learn every day. Every time you code, every time you work, whatever type of job you do, you will continue learning and studying and improving. And the code that you build now is going to look to you is going to look awful in 3 months. But the code that you will build in 3 months is going to look even worse in 6 months. So it's just a matter of self-educating yourself and continuing growing, because as I said, not many companies and agencies, they care about the developer's personal growth. They just want your skills and they want you to build the things as fast as possible. But you have to remind yourself I need to continue studying. I need to keep myself updated. I need to improve day by day by doing things that you like. By doing things that you love. Don't just pick, oh, I'm going to pick this language because it's the highest paying job right now. No, just find what you like and you will succeed. It's hard. It's fucking hard. Everyone struggles. I struggle. I'm 35 years old and I struggle every day for things that I've been doing for 20 years. So it's just nuts, but it's okay. Nicholas, you work for Mozilla. Are they hard on you? Oh, not at all. Like the Thunderbird community, there are two different things. The Thunderbird developers and the organization, it's quite good. It's a lot of you work on the things that you want. Like we have objectives. We define objectives at the beginning of the year cycle before the next long-term support release. And then we pick what we want to do. And then we share patches with each other. We review each other patches. Because it's an open source project, it's more of a collaborative type of work. It's different from a simple agency that you do client work. But it's good because it gives me the time to, yes, study and learn and improve myself and try new technologies and try new solutions. And since it's an open source project, it pushes you to kind of trying to be better and produce good code, because it can be, it's visible to everyone. So you don't want to be shit, right? So you guys are writing so much. I prefer, Draman says, I prefer to open my own studio and work work myself instead of working for a company, because they just suck your blood. Do they do that to you? Alexi, I worked in the past in some very shitty companies, and I struggled a lot, and I was underpaid, and I felt like no gratification at all. I felt like it was horrible, especially in Italy. When I was working in Italy, it's just fucking gross, man, fucking gross. JR said it's a double-edged sword, because if you rush the code, you output a crap product. I'm into Stack Overflow. Yeah, true. Aditya said, I'm new to cybersecurity. What's your opinion about CSV? It's worth it. I don't know anything about cybersecurity. Sorry. Certified ethical hacker V11. I don't know anything. I'm sorry. JR, maybe it sounds like JR. It's good. Better off selling drugs. Come to Canada. Marijuana is legal here. You can make a lot of money by selling marijuana legally. So yeah. Okay, JR, you use the word shit, but I'm gonna show your comment anyway. So JR said, I hate that there's this understanding that if you just get a degree, you'll make $100,000 a year. Yeah, no, it's not true. Yeah. Yeah, it's no. That's the 50-year-olds in the Eastern now. When I was 21, I went ahead to head with the network engineers who didn't understand simple things like STP. Lol. Really, JR? I wanna know that story. You should write a blog post and share it somewhere. I wanna read that story. What are you guys writing? All these weird language. So JR said, I'm 30 and been doing this for 12 years. I'm a certified security professional, certified incident handler, responder, and penetration tester. I run into shit all the time that blows my mind. Yes, JR. We should connect. I'm very curious to connect with you. Jim Lolly, hi. Okay, let's not talk about drugs, please, and stop the trolling, please. We're having a good conversation here. JR, it's 100%. Like, even when I started, even now, let's be real, even now, I sometimes, because I'm touching Thunderbird, the Thunderbird code is 20 years old. There are very old programmers that are 100% against everything I do. They think that what I do is just sprinkling like a coat of paint on top of a turd, like a piece of shit, and it's called it a day. They think that what I do is just fancy, aesthetic, and it's not worth it. They're like, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter your level of experience, you will always find someone that thinks is better than you. And you always have to remember that you don't have to be cocky. You don't have to think, I'm better than him, I can do better. No, you have to show it through your work. And you have to be humble, be realistic, but also be sure about your skills. If you think that your solution is a good solution for many technical reasons. If you think that your solution is a good solution because you're better, that's wrong. If your solution is better because of 1, 2, 3, 4 different technical reasons and something that you can prove, you should go ahead and try it. Always be polite and show it through your work. But it doesn't matter where you are, what's your level, like your skill level, your experience level, the type of language that you use. You will always find someone that will say that what you're doing is shit and his approach is better. So don't get demoralized by that. It's just, everyone goes through that. It's just insane. Alexei asked, why did they have to do this to every programmer? What is the point? Yeah. Oh, Draman, you're 34. I've been doing this for 12 years as full stack. Nice. Yeah, I was a full stack developer as well. Were you a good student at uni or mediocre? I just want to know because I feel bad at the moment not knowing math and it ruins my grade. I was a very lazy student at university. I dropped out of university actually after 3 months because I said, I hate this. This is the worst. I was a very lazy student. I didn't care. Instead of going to the university, I was staying up all night coding and experimenting with websites. We're talking about 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, CSS didn't even have floating elements. So just take this with a grain of salt. C# was the fresh new things, and everyone thought that Python was bullshit. So it's just like things change a lot in the in the past 20 years. But yeah, I didn't like math at all. And I hated studying. I hated studying because that's a broader topic. But in general, the current studying process, how do you say? The current education approach to education, it's very flawed. It's an heritage thing that doesn't work. Education today, you have to remember and memorize a million different things and repeat it exactly. It's not learn by doing or trial and error or try to understand why we're doing this, and maybe try your own approach. Maybe try to find a solution in your own term. No, it's just study, learn, memorize, repeat. No, fuck that. Like, this is stupid, because I'm gonna memorize all this stupid knowledge for just that exam, and after that exam I'm gonna forget everything, and I didn't learn any. The only thing I learned to do is how to not sleep and stress out and memorize bullshit. I don't. It's okay. It's just I'm salty about education. I think education ruined a small part of my life when I was growing up, because it was forced upon me. I hated reading books when I was young, and now I read like 2 or 3 books a month. I have like a full. I cannot say it. I have like a full library of books, like these massive books. I just crunched through them and I love it. But when I was young, I hated reading, because I was forced upon reading bullshit books that I didn't care about, and I needed to memorize and do essays about it, whatever. Well, yeah. So JR said, I agree, it's one of those things that's not even computer related. There is always someone bigger, better, faster, stronger than you. Yeah, period. Same goes for programming. Oh, Draman didn't went to university. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I am dedicated to finish it, but it's a struggle. Yes, it's a struggle, man. You literally explain everything what we students feel, still young, and should expect that. Thank you, Nicola. Yeah, that's the thing, right? The thing I experienced 20 years ago are the exact same things that you're experiencing today, and the exact same things that all the students will experience for the next 100 years until we change this bullshit system. That is just, every single person is different. We should have like different study groups with different approaches to studying. It's not like we cannot be like a fucking Borg community. Like, you have to be assimilated. Resistance is futile. Yeah. Elon Musk is a fucking idiot. So sorry, Travis. Just like don't talk about Elon Musk here, please. JR said nobody understands the why. Some things, same thing in cybersecurity. You memorize how the tool works, but never learn why the tool works. Exactly. JR nailed the point. Whenever you learn something, or you're studying something, or you're even working on something, just think about, why am I doing this? Am I doing this because it works? It's a good approach. It's reliable, scalable, it's easy to understand, or because someone 50 years ago said that we should do this and cannot be changed. So whatever. What are we doing here? So oh, you guys are getting fired up by this argument. Agree 100%. We have to memorize so much unnecessary stuff. We code on paper. On paper? Nicola, where are you from? C exam on paper. I think that's mostly lack of resources from the school, like lack of fundings. You should have a stupid laptop. You can get a Chromebook for $200 and code in C and just use it. Whatever. Damie says, I think it's not the coding case. You should just understand. You don't need to memorize. Yes, absolutely. Dexter, what are you writing? Please write in English so everyone can understand. We all had to know to write 5 reading in C on paper. Really, what the hell? For real? It's a bullshit system. Yeah. JR says, true. Seems like we have a really great beer talk now. Yes, exactly. I should have beer. I just have water, but yeah. You know what I want to do on this channel, other than doing Thunderbird live streaming? I want to do like these type of chats, and then cool people in the comments, I want to invite them on a Zoom call and do a live streaming. You have to promise not to swear and not to be inappropriate and not to get naked, but we can talk about these personal experiences and things, because it's still a stigma. It's still something very unique that, I don't know, like everyone growing up, like every junior developers, they think that they have to follow a specific path and do specific things, and they believe in everything, and then they reach, they're 30, 40 years old, and they said, oh, that was bullshit. I did exactly the same things that everyone did, and I struggle and I keep struggling, and now I realize that I don't have to stress about things. Now I can live my life better. But meanwhile, you spend 20 years in just destroying yourself and going bald like I did, and having stress-inducing nights and not sleeping, and just, so yeah. Whatever. Danny says, when you do a master of PhD, you really change. Yeah? How, Danny? What is the best way to learn, in your opinion, programming specifically? It depends on, it's very personal, Idia. It's very, very personal. You have to find your own approach. For me, for example, if I read something, I will forget it after 20 seconds. If I follow a tutorial and I code alongside a tutorial, I forget it after 30 seconds. For me, my best approach is to find a problem, see the solution, and try to understand the solution by recoding the solution. And after the solution is done by recoding it, then I try to, what if I change this? What if I change that? What if I find a solution with another approach, or from another angle, another point of view? That's what works for me. That's why I started doing my WordPress tutorials, my Laravel tutorials, Vala tutorials. All those tutorials that I did weren't for you. Were not for a YouTube channel. I didn't start my YouTube channel by saying, I'm gonna reach 100,000 subscribers and make money on YouTube. No, bullshit. I started doing that because I needed to solidify my knowledge about WordPress, or about Vala, or about Laravel, about PHP. I needed to code and really understand what I was coding by explaining the why. By teaching, you need to really, you cannot teach someone and say, do these because yes. No, you need to explain what you're doing. That's why those tutorials are helpful for a lot of you, but were super helpful for me. That's my way of learning to code, which is counterintuitive. Learn to code by teaching to code. But that works for me. And no one taught me that. No one ever told me, you should actually explain out loud what you're coding, and that will work better. No one ever gave me that type of knowledge. I discovered it after 10 years of programming, and I was like, oh shit, I remember things now. So it's very personal, unfortunately. Nicola says, Serbia. We have resources, we can bring our own, but they don't want to let us code it on PC because your teacher is a moron. Nicola, please make a Q&A. That would be great. Yeah, just leave the comments below. Write me on Twitter. Ask me the questions that you want, and I will do a Q&A. Do you want me to do a live streaming Q&A, or you want me to do like a video Q&A? But yeah, just ask me all the questions that you want. Ooh, so many comments. Yes, please, nice idea. Yes, nice idea, but I don't have Zoom, but I have Skype. Yeah, we can do Skype, it's fine. And you die at 50 from a heart attack, Danny. Yes, exactly. What do you think, which IDE is better, NetBeans or Eclipse? They're both awful. You don't need a software that weighs at 20,000 gigabytes just to code. You just use what you want. I personally use Visual Studio Code because it's fast and I can install the extensions that I need for the type of code that I use. A lot of programmers, they use Vim because Vim, it's fast as hell, and you can have a lot of extensions to do whatever you want. And some programs use whatever, Dreamweaver, Adobe Dreamweaver, if it's still a thing. Like, it depends, like, what makes you comfortable. But I hate, like, Android Studio or Hexcode or Eclipse that you need to just fucking install a massive library just to launch an interface. Just what the hell is that? Yeah, you go blind. That's true. Danny says it changes because you're working on your own project. Yeah. JR says, gotta hit a meeting. Good talking to you guys. I'll catch you next time you're live. Thank you, JR. See you later. Oh, so many comments, guys. You're overwhelming me. Now you're talking Serbian, and I don't understand anything. Please don't talk Serbian. Please talk English. Please. It's not very polite to... Potrei parlare italiano e nessuno mi capirebbe, oltre agli italiani che ci stanno in chat. E non è molto... è una cosa carina. I just said that I could speak Italian and no one could understand me, would understand me, and it's not very polite. Since this is an international chat, an international video, always speak English. So, thank you. Raghav said, I also tried teaching one of my friend and saw improvements in me in those fields as I studied me why behind those in order to explain them well. Exactly. That's an amazing thing. Teaching while learning. Nicola, I can say come ti chiami. Yes, good. It's play. That's all you need, right? That's you don't need anything else. Oh, you understood me. Nice. Okay. Well. Yeah, Dexter, you're conversing between each other. Do it on another chat. Don't do it on a public chat. It's not polite for the others, right? It's not polite for me. Yeah. Damn it! I think blockchain will change it all. I don't think so. But that's for another video. I'm very opinionated about blockchain. Okay, so, well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you for the very good questions. Thank you for the help, Draman. You're always the man helping with these things. You gave me some good insights. I will get back to it and we'll try to work on it. And we'll see next week where we are. But we'll find some good solutions for all the things that we're doing. Everest it's nailed the point. Exactly. Thank you, everyone. As usual, please, if you want to help, subscribe to the channel if you're not. Share the video, leave a like, then share the love, and help a developer in need. If you find a junior developer that doesn't know something, just teach them. Don't be a dick. Just be nice, because the world is terrible the way it is, and we should all be nice to each other. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, girls, hopefully, everyone. See you next time. Bye.